I, 28 male, have been dating this girl, Amy, 29, for 2 years. We met through a mutual friend and things were going well up until a few days ago. Amy has 2 kids from a previous relationship, twin boys that are pre-tweens now. I get along great with them. Amy and I discussed moving in together and how that would all work out with the kids. Things didn't seem like a problem till she asked if we could find a place where I could afford to pay rent on my own in case she became a stay-at-home mom. I asked in what instance she would become a stay-at-home mom when we aren't planning on having more kids, and I got a vasectomy 2 years ago that she knows of. She said it's always been her dream to be a stay-at-home mom for her kids, and that the boys would benefit a lot from having her home. She said she knows it'll be a lot for me to take on, but she would appreciate it if we could talk about it and possibly make it happen as soon as we move in together. We discussed it, and I told her I was honestly uncomfortable with the idea of being the sole breadwinner for our 4-person household. I could afford rent on my own, but groceries, bills, stuff the kids would need, etc. I can't afford all that. And if I could make it work, that would leave nothing for savings. I also said the boys are in school most of the day, and although I agree that any child will significantly benefit from having a parent available 24/7, I don't think it's a necessity. I also told her I'd be stressed out having them all rely on me. She said she understood and that it was okay. We didn't speak about it again. Her mom called me about a week after I discussed it with her. Her mom started the conversation sweet enough before getting to the point. She asked why I decided to date a single mother if I was unwilling to step up for her and her kids. This kind of made me angry. I didn't know deciding to date a single mom meant that I'd have to happily be financially responsible for them all. I told her with all due respect, this was between me and Amy. She said Amy won't have more kids because she's with me, and this is her only chance of being completely devoted to her kids. And although I can easily afford it, I'm being stingy because I simply can't be bothered to make a sacrifice. My blood was boiling, and I was trying not to say something rude back. I told her it wasn't her business and cut the call. I spoke to Amy and asked her what the heck her mom was on about. She said she needed someone to vent to about the situation, and her mom just had her best interest at heart. She said she thought it would be better for me to get her mom's perspective and then decide. I asked if it would be okay to tell my mom that my girlfriend was asking me to bankroll her and her children's lives and watch my mom call her names for it. She said I was taking things too personally and should have expected things not to go great after our discussion. I'm at a loss here. Edit. For everyone asking about the children's dad and if he pays child support, he isn't a bad person. He's just broke and lives halfway across the world. He couldn't pay child support if he wanted to, given he can barely care for himself financially. He also has a lot of health issues that make it difficult for him to work. He calls the kids often and is as involved as one can be in his situation. She makes enough to care for herself and her kids, so it's been okay for them financially. Wow, the audacity. Since you're happy to play with my kids, now pay for them. Oh, and me too. Why? Because I said so. Not the idiot, but you realize she plans to make this happen, whether you agree or not, right? You'll move in together and she'll get let go, then have trouble finding a job. This is how it sounds to me too. She already decided not to work and she has a meal ticket, and right now she's just in the process of making it happen one way or the other. Also, the last line about you should have expected that things would not go great when you make me angry. Wow, that statement alone would give me serious pause about continuing a relationship with someone. Delta, out of there, mate. This will not end well, for you at least. She's trying to use you for your finances, and if she wants to be a stay-at-home mom, tell her to get more child support from baby daddy. LOL, yep, all of this. She's a hot mess. And getting mommy on board to shame OP? She just wants free time. Her kids are in school. How much time is going to be spent just watching TV? You can stream every reality TV show these days, so she has years worth of content there. Dude, Her mom can finance her stay-at-home dream. I, 25 female, am pregnant with me and my husband's 25 first baby. We are very excited as I'm only a few weeks from giving birth. My baby is the first grandchild on both sides, so naturally, everyone's very anxious to meet them. We live multi-generationally with my husband's family. We all live on a large property together. My husband's grandparents, parents, and siblings also live here. His grandparents live in their detached apartment, while my husband and I live in a large apartment in their finished basement. We have our own entrance, kitchen, laundry, 3 bedrooms, etc. His siblings and parents live upstairs from us. I am very grateful for the opportunity to raise my baby in such a large village and so close to family. Now on to the issue at hand. In a group chat, I informed my family of the boundaries we would be implementing after the birth, one of which is that we will not be having any visitors in the hospital and won't be having visitors in our home until the baby is at least 2 weeks old. This includes even my husband's family, who lives with us, as I may not feel up to seeing them either while freshly postpartum. The exception to this rule is that I know if I need any support or help, I will ask my mother-in-law, who can quickly come downstairs. I trust my mother-in-law not to intrude on this special time, but I know she'll be a great resource and support person. I've become very close with my mother-in-law over the years, and I'm not at all close with my mom. We are extremely low contact for reasons I won't go into, and I only see her a couple of times a year. I was hesitant to allow her to visit at all, but my husband convinced me otherwise, even though she's always been very mean and unwelcoming to my husband. But the man is a saint and doesn't want me to lose my relationship with her completely. Anyway, my mom was extremely upset at this message. She told me that it was unfair that my mother-in-law would be able to bond with my baby while she wouldn't get the same privilege. She said that I was being hypocritical for saying I won't allow visitors except for my mother-in-law. I told her I was sorry she felt that way, but that my mother-in-law isn't technically a visitor. We literally live in the same house as her. On the other hand, my mom lives 45 minutes away, and I'm not willing to entertain her when I need to focus on my baby. Also, personally, I would like to have some mother figure during the process, and I would rather it be my mother-in-law than my mom, but I am starting to feel like I may be acting unfairly. I could use some advice. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. There are clear reasons why you have been low contact with your mother, and she's not doing a darn thing to give you cause to reverse that. Stand your ground and let her know that if she's that unhappy with you, then no contact it'll be, and that'll settle the matter. You have a great situation with your husband's family and excellent support. Embrace that and give your baby and yourself a low-stress, loving, meaningful time. Your baby will have one wonderful grandmother, which is certainly better than 2 when the second is this problematic. Oh boy, it took my mother-in-law 4 years to understand when my wife and I said no. It means no. OP, you don't have to do a darn thing about visitors beyond saying yes or no. You don't have to offer excuses, reasons, or lollipops. Nothing. You are the boss. Just a reminder, tell the nursing staff at the hospital if you give birth in a hospital who is and who isn't allowed to visit you. They will protect you if your mother decides to impose herself on you. I, 33 male, and my girlfriend, 27, have been living together for about a year, together for 2. Since we've been together, she's always had this hobby of making dice for TTRPGs. I don't really understand how it works because I'm not into it, but the dice she makes are beautiful, even to someone who doesn't understand. She's always sold them. She takes a long weekend every fortnight and mass produces 20 or so full sets, and then she sells them. They always sell out pretty instantly, and I knew she made money, but not how much. And to be honest, I don't really care as long as she pays her half of the bills, which she always does. Unfortunately, after making them this past weekend, she broke her wrist, and she needed help to put up her listings because she couldn't type well. I found out that she sells them for 100 to 115 pounds. I expressed my surprise that people spend that much on these things. She was offended, and I tried to explain that I didn't mean it like that, and I just don't understand why people spend that amount of money on things like this. It wasn't supposed to be an insult to her artistry. She was upset and ended up asking someone else to help her and expressed how hurt she was because she worked so hard on them. She hasn't been silent but is definitely withdrawn, and things aren't the same. I can tell she's upset with me, and her sister keeps calling me an idiot. Am I the idiot here? You are the idiot, and here's why. You called it a hobby, and you didn't even know how much she sells them for, how it works, or even ever look at her store. This isn't about your single comment. This is a long 2 years of you belittling her business. It's her job. Whether you've meant to or not, like, bro, 2 years and you've never looked? Not even once? Bruh. Right, like she makes dice every other weekend. That's a lot of dice over 2 years. He's never asked questions once? Never looked at her online listings once? Or gone to a craft fair with her once? If they'd had this conversation 18 months ago, it would be different. But it's been 2 years and he doesn't know anything about her business at all? Selling out immediately also means she's really good at what she does. I disagree. Sounds like a normal foot-in-the-mouth moment. Not the idiot OP. I totally get what you meant. You didn't know there was a demand for a high-value bespoke dice market. I can't understand people paying hundreds of dollars for Legos. It's nothing I've ever cared about. It's the same with concerts. I'm not a huge music person, so spending a ton of money to go to a concert seems bizarre and wasteful to me. That doesn't mean I don't recognize singers' talent as artists or that Legos can be amazing. It just means I don't get it. I've been with my husband for 4 years, married for 1. He has 3 kids from his ex-wife. Admittedly, he has a strained relationship with his kids because his ex-wife and he had a bitter divorce. She took the kids and left the country. There was a lot of parental alienation going on. The kids live in a boarding school in their home country. They visit their mom on the weekends and spend holidays with us. The kids are 2 teens and a tween. 4 months ago, their mom sadly passed away. My husband has full custody and wants to move the kids back once the semester finishes. The kids don't want this as they're comfortable in boarding school and have their maternal family there. They've asked their maternal grandparents to fight for custody. They don't have the means to do that. My husband is still insistent. I told him he was being selfish. After losing their mom, it's not a good idea to rip them away from their only other support system. That boarding school has been their home for most of their lives, and it would be cruel to rip them away now. I suggest taking this more slowly and even moving there to be near them. I work remotely, and my husband can move his job. My husband is furious at me, accusing me of being an evil stepmom and hating the kids. He says he's rethinking our marriage. I don't know what to do. I want what's best for the kids. They live in Northern Europe, and we live in the U.S. I hate the schools here, not to mention all their extended family is there. I just don't think they would react well to this change, and it would only alienate them more. Am I the idiot? Edit. I feel like I need to add this. My husband doesn't want to move back, mainly because of his ex's family. My husband's parents and his ex, let's call her Laura, were best friends. So my husband and Laura grew up together. They started dating at 19. At 20, my husband lost his parents, so Laura's family took him in and supported him through university. When Laura got pregnant with their youngest, she said she wanted to move to the U.S., so they did with the help of her family. When the youngest was 1 year old, a man reached out to my husband, claiming to be the possible father of the kid. Turns out that Laura had been having an affair for 2 years, and the whole family knew. That's why they insisted on moving to the U.S., because Laura herself didn't know who the father was, and the guy wanted a paternity test. Long story short, a test was done, hubby was the father. She moved back with the financial support of her family, and my husband was left alone in the U.S. Since then, he's been no contact with the whole family and bit his tongue for the sake of the kids, but moving back would mean seeing them regularly. These were people he considered his second parents. Laura's siblings he considered his siblings. It sucks to be the only compassionate and thinking person in a couple, doesn't it? OP, all your reasons to leave the children in place and move yourselves to be near them and their support system and extended family sound really well thought out. Yeah, you really sound like an evil stepmother for that. But yeah, imagine the crap show if 3 upset teenagers are brought to another continent to live, away from their school, friends, and maternal family, just because, what, their dad can? Because he has full custody now? Watch him flex his power since his ex is dead and she can't stand in his way. Or does he not want to spend the money on the boarding school? And your husband is rethinking your marriage because you disagree with him? Maybe he isn't the only one that should be rethinking things. Not the idiot. It's astounding he had a contentious divorce from his children's mother. Truly a mystery how that might have happened. OP, I think your suggestions make the most sense. But if the dude had his kids ripped away from him like you describe, then I get him wanting to make the most of this opportunity to have a relationship with them without any parental alienation interference. But ripping them away from their entire support network, friends, and a school they adore will not build a great relationship with them. It's just going to alienate them further, and they'll go completely no contact when they're 18. Your husband is being selfish, and his kids are going to resent him for it. In my family, there are a lot of child-free people. I just don't understand them. I don't understand why someone would have a problem with those adorable little humans. Most of the weddings in my family are child-free, and when people found out I was not planning a child-free wedding, they kept calling me and asking me to reconsider because they didn't want their nights to be ruined by kids. It was very annoying to us. So my fiance and I decided that since they couldn't handle being in the same place as kids, and since we wanted the kids to be in our wedding, we wanted to have a wedding free of any child-free people. Now they're mad that they got uninvited and think we're idiots. But I think if it's okay to exclude kids, then it's okay to exclude adults. Am I the idiot for throwing a child-free free wedding? Edit. I didn't uninvite all the people without kids. I just uninvited those child-free people who make it their whole personality. Not the idiot. I admire your logic. I agree with you. Children make a wedding. They kept calling me and asking me to reconsider because they didn't want their nights to be ruined by kids. It is not their night. It's yours. Your question is oddly phrased, and you only want to invite people who prove that their collective ovaries and vas deferens work? No, that's not strange at all. You are the idiot, OP. You sound like the type of person who would think their kid is special and can do no wrong. Insufferable. Enjoy your daycare wedding. I bet they're quite relieved to be uninvited because, to be honest, you sound like a nightmare. I mean, your wedding, your choice, but the motivation behind the choice seems kind of petty and spiteful, and logically wrong. Kids can ruin an adult evening. Adults will not ruin a kid's evening. It's like saying, all Floridians are Americans, therefore all Americans are Floridians. Given that you're burning many bridges and annoying people for no other reason than your own smug satisfaction, it seems like you're outsmarting yourself on this one. Some of you are missing the point of this. OP was fine inviting anyone until people of a certain mindset started telling them who they can and cannot have at their wedding. That's when OP decided to say, well, if you want to not be around kids, then you aren't invited. It isn't really about your personal opinion of kids. What makes OP not the idiot is that they refuse to bow to pressure.